Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. Today on the show, we've got the return of the Galaxy Foamposites, the rollout of A'ja Wilson's signature kicks, a look back at the Super Bowl and Royal Rumble of it all, the week's hottest releases, and of course, a Hard Pass. All right, so let's start the show with some hot takes. So, by the time you watch this, the NBA All-Star Weekend will have ended, and there will be some happy sneakerheads with pairs from the early launch of the Nike Air Foamposite 1 Galaxy Retro. The wider launch is set for this coming weekend, and it's going to be a little bittersweet, I have to say. I mean, in 2012, people were pumped up for this release. It was a little chaotic and maybe even a little dangerous, but man, that's an energy that is just missing in sneakers these days. To be fair, there's something to be said about not having to worry about your personal well-being and just hoping you hit on Sneakers app. But the more we get away from it, the more I understand those who wish for the old days of the chill sneaker campouts to come back. It's not something I ever did even before I got this gig, but I get it. As for the foams themselves, well, the LeBron 9 Big Bang has come back and sat in stores. The KD4 Galaxy didn't sell out, and the less we talk about the Kobe 7 in general, it's probably for the best. Could it be possible that the Galaxy phones will end up sitting as well? Probably not, but it will diminish the original just a little bit, especially since the retro appears to look very similar to the original in a way that only the most diehard of foam heads will notice the difference. Moving on. Congratulations to Kevin Durant. He became the 8th player to break the 30,000 point mark last week, and he did it while debuting his newest signature shoe, the Nike KD 18. According to various reports, this colorway will be called Nostalgia, as it combines elements from the Nike KD 5 Area 72 and the KD 4 Nerf. The Nerf feels like it's a bit of a stretch, but I definitely see the Area 72 influence. The nostalgia bait is also evident in the overall silhouette itself, as it appears to borrow heavily from the Nike Air Terra Humara. After the KD 17 looked to be influenced by the Nike Air Max Plus, we really are in a new era of KD's signature line. Now, whether constantly referencing the past, note that the tooling on the 17 and the 18 are practically the same, will be the thing that breaks the KD line out of its years-long malaise remains to be seen. It should be noted that we were high on the 17 when they first dropped last year, and we have similar hopes for the 18 as well. WNBA legend, Olympic gold medalist, NCAA championship coach, sneaker legend, all of these things apply to Dawn Staley, and last week she got her biggest honor yet. Okay, maybe it's not as cool as being an all-timer in the W or winning 3 gold medals or 3 NCAA championships, but it's up there. She was gifted an A1 black label pair of the Nike A1, A'ja Wilson's signature shoe. Wilson, of course, played for Staley at South Carolina and won a championship during her time there. Now, it's unclear if these will stay a PE for Staley or if this will eventually make their way to retail in the future with some slight changes, but man, it's just another example of the potential for the A1. I think these have the chance to do as well, if not better, than the Sabrinas when they first dropped, and you can bet these are going to be on the feet of plenty of girls and boys basketball tournaments all throughout the world this summer. Also, shout out to Coach for pointing out a hidden detail in her pair. See, there's a B on the insole. Now, that B stands for Nike's Black Label and not a certain character from the Flintstones who shares the name with the center for the Miami Heat. Yeah, Coach is right. It's probably Black Label and not something else that might be the worst kept secret in the world. In totally unrelated news, Bam Adebayo debuted the A1 on an NBA court last week. Why would I point that out? No reason. I just thought it was cool that Bam was showing support for A'ja and absolutely nothing else. Jaylen Brown. He's announced a brand deal with Oakley and everything makes sense. It's not an uncommon thought to see online that Jaylen's initial 741 performance gear had a lot of Oakley energy, let's say. Turns out that might have been Jaylen's plan all along. Raise Oakley's eyebrow, get that bag, and boom. Jaylen is an Oakley guy while still maintaining his independence with 741. This is the future he wanted, people, except it's already happening. He can sign these deals with gear-centric brands and not have to worry about pissing off somebody at his home base because, duh, he is the home base. As long as he continues to ball out and produce on the court, which is a shame because he plays for that team, the brands will come knocking for the off-court stuff. It remains to be seen if he can, say, sign a unique deal with Puma or a New Balance and make co-branded 741 sneakers, but this Oakley deal, it's a step in the right direction for sure. So as the world awaits for the next Union Air Jordan 1 Chicago/Shadow collaboration, we got our first look at the friends and family pair that I'm sure is going to incite some jealous eyes. As the late great macho man Randy Savage once said in reference to racist dumpster fire Hulk Hogan, friend of the program and legend in the sneaker game, Hugh Hefner, had our first clean looks at the UNC Royal Blue combination. Whether it's a sample or a friends and family exclusive or maybe a shock drop Union has planned that no one is expecting, remember how the original Union Jordan 1s were first teased at the Rose Bowl flea market? Two things are certain. One, Hugh Hefner will probably have 5 pairs personally sent to his palatial estate courtesy of Chris Gibbs. And 2, I'm going to need to call in a favor, or 10 if I have any chance at getting the retail version on the 28th. Moving on to Adidas. Anthony Edwards. He knows when the Adidas AE2 is coming, but neither he nor the brand is rushing to show it to us. I mean, we have kinda seen what the AE2 was supposed to look like through leaks. One was widely trashed and another showed promise. If the final product is more of the latter, then I think we're in business. At the same time, AE and Adidas are taking the correct approach and enjoying the long-tail success of the AE1. Even with a full understanding of production timelines and how difficult it is to start the process of creating a sneaker and going through all the research and development, brands have to be more flexible now in adjusting to taste and trends. The new release every year on the dot timeline just doesn't work anymore. If you don't believe that, take a look at video games like Madden, NBA 2K, and Call of Duty. Those games have an annual release cycle, but they sure as hell don't have an annual hit cycle. Yes, those games will always have a guaranteed number of sales due to brand recognition, but the quality of the games varies year by year because the devs are always under pressure to deliver yearly, sometimes changing things that already work just for the sake of change. While Call of Duty eases that pain somewhat by spreading the responsibility among multiple studios, EA Sports and 2K have to act like they are revolutionizing the industry every year when what people really want is a game that just plays great. If everybody just allowed these devs the time to breathe and really cook in the lab, maybe give them a 2 or 3 year cycle, the games would be so much better. Maybe the sales wouldn't be the same, but that's not my problem. I just want the games to be good. Wait, where was I? AE2. Yeah. Take your time, Adidas. If the sneaker is hot, people will wait for it and buy it when it's out. The gambit is if the sneaker isn't hot, then that's a problem. But based on what we've seen from the leaks, it's probably going to be okay. Roger Federer, well, he welcomed the newest member of the On family during the Super Bowl, Elmo. I know you all thought Jaylen Brown, right? Imagine that, Jaylen in the Oakleys while rocking On runners with 741 branding. I need to see the vision board. Anyways, back to Elmo. So the lovable Sesame Street icon got right to work as he was featured in another ad encouraging runners to find the fun in running, aka the soft wins. You know, the stuff that you normally wouldn't associate with running a 5K. Not surprisingly, the ad is tied to the release of the Cloud Surfer 2, a follow-up to one of the brand's most popular running shoes. And you know what? Call me a sucker, but I like it. We'll leave the burning intensity and desire to conquer with furious anger type of ads to Nike and Adidas and Under Armour and the rest. It's just a nice change of pace to see freaking Elmo just doing a chill run while Black Sheep is playing in the background. And speaking of the Super Bowl, let's talk about Devonta Smith. Yeah, everybody knows about the Jordan 11 and the banned Jordan 1 cleats that MVP Jalen Hurts brought to the big game. And don't think I didn't notice the prevalence of Kobe and LeBron-inspired cleats on the field. But man, Devonta was going above and beyond to show love to a Philly legend. He already did it previously with a more Eagles-centric colorway, but this Vince Lombardi trophy-inspired version? Brilliant. I mean, it's not dissimilar to what we've seen Stephon Diggs does with his custom Asics cleats, but to rock the Reebok Answer 4 Iverson logo and all on top of a Nike cleats tooling? Brilliant work, Devonta. I salute it. And shout out to the designer, Sean Vergara, for the clever application of the Answer 4 design, because you know the NFL loves nothing better than to find their players for showing off unapproved logos and brands on their sacred turf. By removing the Reebok logos that you would normally see on the Answer 4, the NFL can't really do anything about it. But anybody with a knowledge of sneaker history gets the reference right away. A small win for Reebok, who got free publicity even though Smith might be on the verge of a deal with Asics, as he was pictured on a lookbook for the Gel Kinetic fluent. And to close out our Super Bowl talk, Serena Williams. To have her out there doing the crip walk at that stage, at that moment, during that song was just brilliant work by everybody involved. It was a redemptive arc for Serena, who famously did a, let's say, toned down version of the dance when she won the 2012 Wimbledon Championship over Maria Sharapova. Gee, I wonder why some clowns were upset over that moment. And for the sneakerheads, we got to look at the A Ma Maniére Converse Chuck 70 collab that has a Nike swoosh on the lateral side, albeit in blue dyed form. Gee, I wonder if some other clowns are going to take the wrong message from that moment and buy the Chucks to dye them blue for their Halloween costume this year. I can already see the culture war storm coming, and it's only February. One last thing about the Super Bowl sneakers. We can't be the only one who saw the sneaker that Kendrick Lamar had on for the halftime show and thought they were the Reebok Shaq Attacks at first, right? I mean, he was wearing Asics for his press conference about the show, so maybe he no longer has an allegiance to Nike. It turned out to be the Nike Air DT Max 96, and hey, don't let anybody fool you into thinking the resale has shot through the roof for these and that you can't get them. We're in a different era, people. Yeah, the white and black pair might be a little harder to get now, but if you search online or go in store, you can still find them. And really, that's a good thing. All right, for the pick of the week. Toby Nwigwe basically took the Reebok preseason 94 and switched everything up besides the tooling. The result is the Chukwu OTU, a lifestyle-infused silhouette with an eye for future design. According to Hypebeast write-up, Chukwu is an Igbo term for God, reflecting Nwigwe's spiritual beliefs and Nigerian heritage. Otu, meaning one in Igbo, represents unity, wholeness, and the pursuit of greatness, further emphasizing the sneaker's deeper significance. So you have the Toby Nwigwe Reebok preseason Chukwu OTU in mint green on the 21st for 200. Then you also have it in black on the 21st for 200 and as well. I know I've said this already, but LUKA Doncic is a Laker. Look, I'm sorry. It's still a shock to me, and it's already been 2 weeks. So far, the Lakers have won one and lost one, and you know what? It's going to be a bizarre rest of the season, no matter what happens. Maybe they figure it out with this roster and go on a run. Maybe the loss of Anthony Davis and any semblance of defense will ultimately doom us sooner than we think. What we're not going to do is live and die with every game like we're ESPN, who act like co-writers' relatives who think the sky is falling with every loss and planning for the championship parade after every win. We're gonna be all right. Also, someone in the comments asked us to post Royal Rumble thoughts, so here's a quick clear out. We're bummed Bianca didn't win on the women's side, but we're not shocked Charlotte won. She's a Flair, and a good one at that too. Hopefully less problematic, but yeah, we can see why they went with her to win. Main event, Jey Uso on the other hand, wow, Jay was not on our list of potential Rumble winners because we figured he was going to somehow be a part of the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens storyline. That didn't end up being the case, and boy, are we glad to be wrong. Now he's going to be headlining a World Championship match at the biggest stage in the game. Of course, now that he's arrived, some of the same people who cheered him on his journey from Anonymous Twin to being the one who eliminates John Cena from his final Rumble are now turning on him. It's inevitable and a tale as old as the Carney show that is pro wrestling. Man or woman is an underdog fave, catches lightning in a bottle and rides that all the way to the top, but along the way, they lose fans because they're big time now, or they'll nitpick the same things they loved about him or her initially. Same people who were doing the yeet chants a week ago are now saying Jay's overrated and doesn't deserve a spot in the WrestleMania marquee. And that's just some sad hater nonsense, man. Like, we actually got to see somebody who wasn't deemed worthy of main event status by the bookers early on build himself up, create a connection with the crowd that no social engineering by Triple H could ever come replicate, and now he's not worthy? Like, what are we doing here? Yeah, his repertoire of moves is basically spamming the super kick button, but so what? He makes the people get off their feet and chant a word that's been played up and played out more times than I can remember. Yeet is over a decade old, and through sheer force of will and personality, it's going to be screamed by tens of thousands of people at the Death Star Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas in a few weeks. All right, it's time for this week's Hard Pass. We're going to take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go, like the return of the Adidas Kobe 2. So Adidas has been on a bit of a hot streak lately with the Originals line, appealing to the casual crowd, and the AE1s and Harden Volume 9s are earning praise from the sneakerhead and hooping communities. So it would make sense for them to take some risk and see just how hot their hand is. Well, someone over there must think they're on fire, because how else could you explain bringing back the Kobe 2? It's the Air Jordan 2 of Kobe's sneaker history, as in a sneaker that was so universally panned and disliked that it actually forced the principal to consider leaving the brand he started with. But unlike Michael Jordan and Nike, Adidas does not have a Tinker Hatfield and an Air Jordan 3 waiting in the wings to save the day, no offense to the unreleased Kobe 3. Now, there could have been other factors at play that led to Kobe leaving for sneaker free agency. But the Kobe 2 being the scapegoat is a part of sneaker lore now, and as people who believe the Air Jordan 1 was actually banned by the NBA, it's hard to shake that once it's out there. Anyways, the Kobe 2 All-Star in white and yellow may or may not have dropped during All-Star weekend, but the silver colorway is slated to return in April as the Crazy 2, the reband of the Kobe line that we're still not happy with. And if that wasn't frustrating enough, it's also a bit confusing because when Adidas brought back the KB8 2 in the 2010s, that was called the Crazy 2. Now the Kobe 2 is the Crazy 2, and the KB8 2, which used to be called the Crazy 2, is now the Crazy 98. See what I mean? Look, I can understand if the Brian estate or Nike would never allow it, but nothing would please me more than for all parties to come to an agreement that allow Adidas to sell the retros, even the Kobe 2, with their proper branding, the Froby logo, and all. Look, if Marvel and Disney can work out a deal with Sony to make sure Spider-Man is in the MCU, I don't see how Nike and Adidas can't get their lawyers in a room and hash out something so we get proper Adidas Kobe retros. Oh, and Yeezy stores coming soon, whatever the fuck that means. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I am Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week. If you'd like to be possibly featured in a future episode, call us at 818-493-9325. Leave a short message, your socials if you want, no more than 30 seconds. All right, I'll see you next week. Peace.